Gary Payton II ended up being one of the biggest surprises in the NBA in recent years. The son of Hall of Famer Gary Payton Sr., his game features all-around defense, a knack for hustle plays, and an incredible motor that never stops. He's also a great rebounder who can help out on the offensive end too. He recently signed a massive contract with the Trailblazers, but an injury left him sidelined before he could make an impact. Let's take a look at how that happened, when he'll come back, and more. Gary Payton II had a pretty successful college basketball career. However, after going undrafted in 2016 and being unable to secure a roster spot on any team due to his lackluster performances, he faced many struggles over the course of 6 years. But in 2021, with the Golden State Warriors, Payton was able to prove himself and establish his place in the NBA. It was perfect timing for Payton as well. The Warriors were short on players because of COVID restrictions and injuries, and Payton was able to step up and show them what he could do. He also displayed a great deal of maturity as a player, learning from veteran players like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. This allowed him to take the game to the next level, showing everyone he could lead a team. The Warriors weren't planning on keeping him for long though. They only signed him to a temporary deal, but his success earned him a spot in the team's rotation. And more importantly, it put Payton in a position to get a more permanent contract from somewhere else. This summer, Payton was able to make his first real decision when it came to his career. After years of battling for spots on rosters and struggling for exposure, he was finally ready to make his own choice. With numerous teams offering him guaranteed contracts, Payton ultimately chose to join the Portland Trailblazers for a 3-year deal worth $28 million. This isn't Steph Curry money, but it's still a lot for a player who's pushing 30 and doesn't have a lot of past success to build on. However, a lot of people were confused as to why Payton chose to leave the Warriors, despite having such a successful season with them. Gary Payton II had a breakout season with the Warriors, and fans were surprised to see him leave the Bay. When asked about his decision, he was candid and said that it came down to money. He needed to get paid. In the end, the Warriors weren't willing to take on additional luxury tax, so they allowed Payton to join the Portland Trailblazers instead. This is despite the fact that Payton wanted to stay in the Golden State. Payton told George Karl on his podcast, Truth and Basketball, that he had to take the money offered by Portland in order to make a living. This is understandable for someone who's had to fight long and hard just to make it onto NBA rosters. If things had worked out with the Warriors, Payton would still be there. However, he couldn't just pass up an opportunity to make $29 million. No one could at that point in their career. But as soon as the offseason began and GP2 was getting ready to lace up his boots and start his first season with Portland, everything hit a halt. Payton suffered a core injury during training, and it was apparently bad enough for him to be put out of commission by the NBA doctors. This wasn't his first injury in 2022 either. He previously suffered an elbow injury during a game with the Warriors at the tail end of the last season, and despite successfully recovering from that, this could potentially be worrisome for his career. If GP2 is labeled injury-prone, it will have a huge impact on his value and career prospects. A guy like him isn't exactly getting an ironclad contract every season, and one more serious injury could easily derail his plans for a long-term career in the NBA. So for now, Payton is focused on rehabbing his core muscle injury and getting back to playing shape. He's hoped to make an early return from this setback so he can prove himself as the player everyone thought he could be. With the new contract and a fresh start in Portland, this was supposed to be the season he would prove his worth. It remains to be seen if that's still possible. We're all pulling for Gary Payton II as he looks to make the most out of what has been a difficult but ultimately rewarding journey in the NBA. There was a glimmer of hope in November that Gary Payton II would make his Portland debut. Chris Haynes, a TNT reporter, tweeted out that the Trailblazers guard, who had abdominal surgery earlier in the year, could potentially return to action by November 15th against the San Antonio Spurs. But as we all saw, that didn't happen. Despite months of rehab, Payton was not ready to hit the court just yet. His injury had been a major setback, and it's seemingly not going away. In the meantime, the Trailblazers are moving on without him. They've managed to stay in the playoff picture and make a run for a championship, thanks to their star players. It's unfortunate for Payton, as he was hoping to prove himself as an important piece on this team. But it's not all bad news. With his injury status changing from day to day, GP2 still has a shot at making an impact this season. He's putting in the work and trying to return to full health as soon as possible so he can show the world what he can do on the court. If Payton is able to make a successful recovery, it will be a massive boost for him and his team. But it's important to note that just because GP2 didn't return in the game against the Spurs, it doesn't mean he's still injured. He just doesn't want to rush back and suffer another injury. So for now, it's a waiting game as Payton attempts to make a full recovery and get back on the court in time to make an impact this season. We also have to remember that it might not be his decision to make. If the team or the doctors decide that he's not ready, they won't let him play. There were later reports that suggested Payton would be playing against the Denver Nuggets on December 8th, but once again, that didn't happen. At this point, it would be safe to assume that his return is imminent. The fact that there were so many reports of his return means that the team has definitely discussed it enough for the word to get out. He's the best perimeter defender in the NBA right now, and the Trailblazers need a guy like him on the team. They're not just going to have him rest for no reason after dishing out almost $30 million on him. Surprisingly enough, GP2 appeared with the rest of his team at practice on December 7th. He was able to participate in nearly every activity, as if he had never missed a beat. That's something that should give the Trailblazer fans hope that an on-court return may not be too far away. Trailblazer star Damian Lillard just couldn't help himself. When Lillard told the reporters that Payton trained with the team, everyone seemed surprised. After that, Lillard said, "Was I supposed to say that? He practiced with us. He practiced today, so he must be feeling all right. I guess. I don't know." This news is encouraging for both Payton and his team. It means that he's close to being ready to make an on-court return, which would be a huge boost for the Trailblazers as they make a run for a championship this year. However, it's important to note that Payton could still suffer another injury if he rushes his return. He's been playing it safe and taking his time to make sure he's fully recovered before returning to the court, so it remains to be seen how long it will take him. But in any case, this news has Trailblazers fans feeling optimistic that Payton is close to making a triumphant return to the game. But with all that said, when will GP2 make his return? Well, from the way things seem right now, it's most likely that he has fully recovered from his injury. But as we all know, just because he's not injured doesn't mean he's ready. It's going to take a while for him to get used to the basketball court again. The training appearance is definitely a big plus, but he needs to start consistently appearing. At the same time, the team needs to make sure that his injury doesn't start to return as he plays more and more basketball. If there's even a slight chance of it returning, he's not going to get to play. He'll most likely return at the end of December or the beginning of 2023, according to most analysts. Here's to hoping GP2's comeback is just around the corner. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think GP2 will shine as a Trailblazer? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.